we had a chance to leap a little bit in the standings, wild card and the division standings a little bit. Nationals lost today, and I think we were at a three-way tie before this game started between the Nationals and the Cubs for that first seed in the wild card, and we could have leaped over the Nationals for second place in the division with their loss today, but after a good few couple wins here, we take one giant leap backwards as the offense lays a major goose egg for majority of this ball game, and we score one measly run. And Vince Velasquez on the mound, dealing through 5 innings. He was really solid for the first 5, but once he got to that 6th inning, got absolutely rocked. He struggled. Gabe Kapler decided to take him out of the ball game once he saw him struggling, giving up that home run to Buster Posey. And yeah, an interesting stat line for Vince Velasquez. The first and second time through the lineup, the opposing team is batting under 200. But once you get through that third time around the lineup, the opposing team is batting over 500. So, if the Phillies are this analytically driven team, shouldn't that give a sign to Gabe Kapler, oh, we're going to the third time through the order? Maybe I should take Vince Velasquez out of this ball game instead of keeping him in there, and he got torched. But I also understand the decision because he's dealing through majority of this ball game. He's making the Giants batters look off balance. He's getting outs, missing bats. So I understand the decision to keep him in, but then you also have to take into consideration this is an analytically driven team. So if Gabe Kapler should know that stat line out of Vince Velasquez, oh, we're getting through the third time through the order, I got to take this guy out of the game and go to the bullpen. And yeah, it's just once he got to that 6th inning, he was a completely different pitcher. He gives up the single, then gives up the home run to Posey, and then we take Vince Velasquez out of the game, bringing Adam Morgan. He gets absolutely rocked. He looked terrible out there. And Gabe Kapler even said in his postgame, from the dugout, he saw Adam Morgan not having his stuff out there. And he gets rocked for 2 home runs. And just when you say that in the press conference, shouldn't you have taken Adam Morgan out of the ball game at that point if he was getting rocked at that point, he didn't have his stuff? It's just, why don't you take him out if he doesn't have his stuff? Why keep him in there and let him get torched? And I don't know, through there, Morin comes in, he does solid. Hector Neris does solid. Then Zach Eflin comes in the 9th inning, his first appearance out of the bullpen this season. Gets out of a bases loaded jam. I guess he was feeling heavy because, Zach Eflin has forgotten how to pitch lately, and he's stating that he feels heavy. I have no idea what that means. I don't know if feeling heavy means he's being overused or just, I don't know what that means. He just says he feels heavy. And just from an offensive standpoint, just not much going for us today. We chose to put Cesar Hernandez in the leadoff spot today. Goes 1 for 4. Gene Segura had another multi-hit game. He goes 2 for 4. We put Rhys Hoskins in the 3-hole this time. Goes 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Bryce Harper goes 0 for 2. Has 2 walks. JT Realmuto 1 for 4. Scott Kingery another 0 for day. Seeing that average drop down a lot. He's struggling a lot lately. And I don't think it's a matter of fact that what we saw last year out of Scott Kingery, he was just completely overmatched. I think just throughout this point where he's just struggling at this point, he's not overmatched. I just think getting one too many strikeouts at this point, just can't get the bat on the ball. So he's just going through just a struggle at this point, even though he was one of our more consistent hitters through the beginning and the middle part of the season. Now we're finally seeing a struggling Scott Kingery. Just hopefully he can work his way out of that. Then Adam Hazley, he goes 0 for 3 with the lone RBI. Maikel Franco goes 1 for 3. Vin Velasquez 0 for 2. And just not much offense throughout the entire board. We only had 5 hits in this ball game. And yeah, it's just not much. Not much. We got rocked in that 6th inning. That's where the Giants scored all the runs. And Vince Velasquez, first 5 innings, he was very solid, very solid. He goes 5 innings in total, 4 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, and that 1 home run given up to Buster Posey. But when he got into that 6th inning, he just looked like a completely different pitcher. And from that stat line that teams are hitting above 500 against him the 3rd time throughout the lineup, that's a sign that you should take him out of the ballgame at that point before you get to that 3rd time through the lineup. So I feel like that's more to blame on Gabe Kapler, but you also can't blame at the same time because Vince Velasquez was dealing at that point. So it's really I'm stuck between two sides right now. I really can't decide to blame Gabe or to side with him on that point, but he also makes some questionable decisions when keeping Adam Morgan in the game. So I'm really tied between here. I don't know whether to blame Gabe or to not blame Gabe, but I'm in the middle at this point. So yeah, I don't know. Vince Velasquez just looked like a completely different pitcher. Adam Morgan gets rocked. And just his ball game in general was just pretty boring just from the lack of offense on a Phillies standpoint. You just had some key offensive nights 2 days in a row. The win on Sunday against Atlanta, yesterday's ball game, and Rhys Hoskins with that big home run, stating after that ball game, there's just a different atmosphere in the locker room, it feels like. And then you come out to this game and give this kind of poor effort. The offense was not there at all today. The offense was just not there at all. And just aside from this game, I want to get to the trade deadline moves that we made, because we only made one, really. We traded with the Pittsburgh Pirates to get outfielder Corey Dickerson, and I'm fine with the trade for Corey Dickerson. He's a great player, batting over 300 this season. He's a Gold Glove winner. He can be used in the outfield, and Gabe Kapler actually stated when Dickerson gets to Philadelphia, he's going to be the starting left fielder. So we're most likely going to be seeing this guy in the lineup. He's been really good for the Pirates this season. He's not a power hitter whatsoever. He uses the entire field, kind of like a Gene Segura, where he can bat for average and use the entire field to his advantage. So that's something good there. But the little bit of a mishap with Dickerson, the guy can't stay healthy. He is known for getting injured many times, so hopefully he does not get injured. But knowing our team's luck this season, we're going to have a ton of injuries with this guy going down the stretch, but hopefully that won't be the case and he is healthy and here for the long run, even though his contract runs out at the end of the season. But that's another story for a later date. And we trade for another bullpen help, and it's just, I don't know what Clintack's mindset was going into this trade deadline, because he did not address the starting pitching whatsoever. We got Jason Vargas. Whoop-de-doo. It's slightly better than Nick Pivetta, slightly better than Zach Eflin. Jason Vargas is not that good, and he really didn't address the starting pitching just in general. And when you see all these other trades, you see Zach Greinke go to the Houston Astros, even though Zach Greinke would have cost a lot, and it would have made sense not to go after him. But then you see guys like Tanner Roark, he goes to Oakland, and just not addressing starting pitching in general. But then you see teams like the Atlanta Braves and the Washington Nationals going after bullpen help, and you see teams in your division just improving, getting help in the bullpen when you drastically needed to improve your starting pitching. I like the Dickerson deal, but it just, why are you okay with this? Why did you not want to address the starting pitching? And Clintack was in the broadcast booth tonight for a half inning talking about what happened during the trade deadline, and he says he's okay with what they did. They're okay with what they got. And why are you okay with this? And he said, I'm confident with our pitching staff going down the stretch. You're confident in Aaron Nola. Are you confident in guys like Jason Vargas? Are you confident in Jake Arrieta with his bone spur? Are you confident in Vince Velasquez? I know Drew Smyly has been really good in his first 2 starts. Do you expect him to keep up that consistency? And not gonna lie, I've loved what I've seen through Drew Smyly, and also, matter of fact, he kind of looks like Cliff Lee out there, not gonna lie. But do you expect a guy like Drew Smyly to keep up that kind of consistency? It's just that if you're expecting to go for at least a wild card to make the playoffs, this pitching staff is, besides Aaron Nola, is not the way to go. I know they're probably going to make more moves when the offseason comes, but we're thinking in the right now, and the major address was to go after our starting pitcher. Get someone that can help this rotation out, because guys like Nick Pivetta, guys like Zach Eflin aren't doing it right now. Even guys like Vince Velasquez. Because we don't have guys that can go deep in the ball games besides Aaron Nola. Jake Arrieta can't do it with his bone spur. Nick Pivetta, he struggles and now he's in the bullpen. Zach Eflin, like I said earlier, he forgot how to pitch and he feels heavy. So now he's moved into the bullpen. Drew Smiley, he's given us first few good games here, so maybe he can keep up the consistency. Vince Velasquez can't go for the third time through the lineup because teams bat over 500 against him. And Jason Vargas, even though I think in his last, I would say 14 starts or something like that, I think it's above 10. He has like a 3-point-something ERA, so I don't know if he can keep that up. I don't know if he can go deep into ball games. Even though he had one game against us, it was like the best game of his career total in strikeouts, but who knows? Who knows? I don't like what Clintack did this trade deadline. Even though we got guys like Corey Dickerson, I'm fine with that. But overall, this trade deadline, I would say, is very below average and maybe possibly a failure. Possibly a failure because you didn't address the most important need, which was starting pitching. And going back to the game was just very boring to watch. Nothing exciting going on. The only runs that happened were in that 6th inning for the Giants, and the Phillies got their one measly RBI off from Adam Hazley. And it was just not a fun game to watch. And we had our chance to leap the Washington Nationals, and we didn't do that. So, what are you guys' thoughts on this game? What are you guys' thoughts on the trade deadline moves by Clintack? What are you guys' thoughts on Clintack's words when he was in the broadcast booth? Are you fine with the moves he made? Do you think this trade deadline is sort of a pass or a failure? So don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.